keeping your family warm, maybe having a little left over, maybe for a vacation, or just trying to save for retirement. Folks are not able to do that these days. Richard Gere, are you a big fan? He's been in a lot of movies. You know, he was an A-list actor once upon a time. He had classic films like American Gigolo and my favorite with Julia Roberts, Pretty Woman. Pretty Woman was a great movie. I love that movie. There's a classic. That should be in your library, by the way, if you haven't seen it. It's an old movie, but it's a good movie. Come on. It's a good movie. Richard Gere was great in the movie. But, you know, he hasn't been starring in the big Hollywood movies. He hasn't. And according to the Hollywood Reporter, it all started in 1993 when he went off script at the Academy Awards, you might remember, and he was protesting China's occupation of Tibet and its horrendous human rights situation. Susan Sarandon and Tim Robbins also went off script to speak on behalf of Haitian refugees, and this resulted in Gil Cates, the show's producer, to vow and ban all three from the Oscars broadcast. It's a true story. So Richard Gere continued to speak out, and then in 2008 he called for a boycott of the Beijing Olympics, and today he still supports the cause through his two foundations. Today, Richard Gere is 67 years old. He has been banned for life in China. The Chinese don't like Richard Gere. And they definitely don't want Richard Gere in any movies because of the influence the Chinese actually have in Hollywood. Great. They're buying up the movie companies, controlling Hollywood. It's amazing what the Chinese are involved with in America. It says, there was something I was going to do with a Chinese director, and 2 weeks before we were going to shoot, this is Richard Gere saying, he says he called saying, sorry, I can't do it. He added on being ousted from an independent financier, non-studio film that never aimed, or rather never aired for a Chinese release, but had a Chinese director, and he had secret phone calls on a protected line. If I had worked with this director, he and his family would never have been allowed to leave the country ever again. It would never work. So that's why Richard Gere has not been doing big Hollywood films, been doing indie films, been doing a slew of those, but not the A-list box office big movies. But he's still acting, still a great actor, he can pull it off. He's really terrific. But the influence of China in our economy, the power that they have is unbelievable. And all the way in Hollywood. So if you speak out against their inhumane treatment of their people and how they treat their people, it is terrible. And indeed, it is deplorable. The human rights atrocities in China. Terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. But Donald Trump says that he has a good relationship with Xi, the Chinese president. Hopefully they can solve the immediate issue with North Korea. It seems like the rhetoric is ratcheting up even more. And Pence seems to be very adamant being over there, which seems to be very effective, but very strong words.
Strategic patience has been the approach of the last American administration and beyond. For more than 2 decades, the United States and our allies have worked to peacefully dismantle North Korea's nuclear program and alleviate the suffering of their people. But at every step of the way, North Korea answered our overtures with willful deception, broken promises, and nuclear and missile tests. Over the past 18 months, North Korea has conducted 2 unlawful nuclear tests and an unprecedented number of ballistic missile tests, even conducting a failed missile launch as I traveled here for this visit. The era of strategic patience is over.
All right, trying to explain more of this narrative, both Pence and Spicer.
All options are on the table, and there they will remain. But President Trump and I and our administration believes The most productive pathway forward is dialogue among the family of nations that can isolate and pressure North Korea.
Does this president believe that there are viable military options for dealing with North Korea?
Again, I'm not. I understand that, but I think taking anything on or off the table in itself limiting your options to some degree, and so I'm not going to even discuss that.
And North Korea is not backing down. They said they're going to continue in defiance with launching these things regardless of how much power. They will strike us with nukes directly at us. They don't care, which makes the world really wonder what the heck they have been working on. And if they can miniaturize a nuke and they can launch something out, maybe it doesn't destroy. This is a lot of the pundits, by the way, I've been listening to on television, some of the military analysts saying that if they were able to do this and launch it in, say, Hawaii, and they've been the state of Hawaii, they have been pretty much readying themselves for a possible nuke attack, but they say that there would be hundreds of thousands of survivors because they feel like if North Korea could reach Hawaii with a nuke on one of those missiles, that it would reach a 2 max 3-mile radius. Now, that'd be a lot of people dead. Some are just saying maybe most a mile. Some are saying 2, 3 maximum. But still, that's a lot of damage. It's not going to wipe out all Hawaii, but the fallout. I'm not a radiation specialist by any means, but they're taking this threat rather serious. We live in some pretty ominous times, folks. We really do. But to root out evil, we're talking about ISIS and out in Fresno now with this guy who just got radicalized seemingly online. Of course, the Fresno police don't want to call this ISIS, but it's been ISIS-inspired. The AP came out and said that he said God is great. Allah Akbar is God is great. But in Muslim, that's what they do, these extremists. He was radicalized by Islamic terrorists online, and they had impressions on him. And he mentioned something about a kingdom, which is a caliphate, and that's what ISIS wants to do. So more investigation on that. But we have threats here at home and abroad. And, folks, what I suggest is to continue praying and, most of all, having a survival tactic of some kind, because you just never know, whether it's Ted Koppel's book, EMP, electronic pulse that knocks out our electricity. There's all these possible scenarios, and God forbid any of those becomes a reality, but these are the times that we live, and you want to make sure that you are ready. And we might have some of those survival guides we might be offering maybe tomorrow or next week left over, and we'll make those available to support for the people. Dr. Pat Choate, by the way, acclaimed economist and author. He's going to be coming up next. I'm going to dial him up. Stay tuned. We'll be bright.
You survive this thing called life. We're for the people, for the people, for the people is there.
It's unlike anything you've ever been through in your life, man. I was driving. This kid threw a grenade at us and went right over our vehicle. It was 12 years old.
The shockwave went through my head, rattled up my brain, and left.
Danger is around you 360 degrees at all times, and you can't unlearn that.
It's impossible to describe the sacrifices these men and women have made to protect our freedoms. And the job of rebuilding their lives is massive and growing every day. Many will need the programs offered by the Wounded Warrior Project for years to come.
I didn't know what PTSD was. All I knew is I was having nightmares. And when I got released, my reintegration was go check in at the VA, man.
My first coping mechanism was use drugs. Just numb it. Don't feel anything.
I was angry. I'm trying to pull myself out of that right now.
Your gift today of $19 per month will honor and empower these veterans so they can aid and assist each other.
The Wounded Warrior Project is a life raft.
I can say this without question that I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for it.
Wounded Warrior Project is the first step, getting back out into the world and reforming yourself outside of the service.
Call or go online with a pledge of $19 a month. You'll receive this Wounded Warrior Project blanket, and your gift will provide critically needed programs that rebuild lives.
That was my first feeling of actually being a part of something bigger than myself again.
Well, I lost a few really close friends overseas, and if I quit, I'm going to let them down, and I'm not about to do that.
I'm learning to face my fears head on.
To trust and see what happens at the end.
It's a long process, but I had the drive and desire.
Please, call or go online with your gift right now.
For the People is on the air for you Monday through Friday, giving you the information you need with the insight you deserve. Our mission is simple, to keep you informed without the jargon. We work hard to give you a quality program that makes a real difference in people's lives. Today, we're asking for your help. We would like to expand our on-air footprint throughout the U.S. Our goal of $5,000 will give us the ability to reach out to key decision makers and get us on more radio stations throughout the country. For the People is there for you daily. Will you help us reach our goal? $5,000 is our goal, and we can build this thing together. Let's get to work and grow For the People. Log on to forthepeopleshow.com. That's forthepeopleshow.com. You love the show. Now it's your turn to give back. We are counting on our friends. Help For the People now by logging on to forthepeopleshow.com. That's forthepeopleshow.com. The internet is a big place, but 123 Ready TV has made it easy to start enjoying all of the current movies you enjoy and those movie classics. What if I told you that you could start streaming everything now and all the latest movies for just $19.99? And it's a one-time charge, not monthly. 123 Ready TV is a media app that you can have on your PC or your Android phone. You see, this app allows you to stream movies and TV shows, weather, and anything you already have on your PC or your phone or on the internet. Plus, no commercials. Find out why so many people are using this amazing media player. Start saving money and start enjoying all your favorite TV shows now and movies for just a one-time payment of $19.99. To get yours, go to forthepeopleshow.com. That's forthepeopleshow.com and click on the store page for your 123 Ready TV. For the People has a new way to find us on the web. Just go to forthepeopleshow.com. That's forthepeopleshow.com. There you can listen to our daily podcasts. When you can't find a radio station that carries us, you can even listen to past shows at forthepeopleshow.com. You can also find our bookstore, where you can order 24 hours a day at the People's Store. Just remember, forthepeopleshow.com. Click there now. For the People continues on your radio. We have Dr. Pat Choate, and we were just actually enjoying a discussion off air. And sometimes the best stuff, for whatever reason, happens when you're not on the air. You know that, Pat.
Well, it's true. It's true. Basically, we were talking about the work it takes to do a good radio show. I did one for 5 years. It takes a lot of work.
It really does. And it doesn't matter how much you know from your practical, experience and writings and all that other stuff. It's being able to articulate it in a way to where an audience can appreciate it, understand it, receive it, and then you don't want to put them to sleep at the same time. It's really a pendulum effect, balancing here.
Well, and what has also happened, audiences have really, over the years, thanks to the internet and social media and all the newspapers and news sources, the audiences are better today than they were because they're up to date. And so the burden that puts on the host is you really got to stay up to the minute. I mean, you've got to know what was happening an hour or 2 hours ago because you have a good audience that knows what's happening, will call in and you want to be responsive.
They'll set you straight. It's callers that'll do it, which we don't at this moment do a lot of callers. But when we go our second hour,